So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Darren here from Simple Games, and finally I am bringing you my TG deck profile. And this deck is actually taking me so long to build, purely because I was having to try and find all the little pieces to go for it. It's had a lot of new support. Luckily, the best thing about this deck is all of the main deck cards are either recently printed or they've had a reprint in one of the OTS sets. So you can pick them up quite easily. The extra deck as well, again, have had quite a lot of reprints, so they're quite nice and easy to pick up. Some of the cards are either ors. Other than that, the only card that I don't have that I have to get hold of is the Dragonfly, and I've ordered that already. That is the level 2 synchro TG monster that can target a synchro summon monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and then revive all of the materials that we used to make that synchro summon. So, without further ado, I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, explain why we've got it, and I'm actually crazy excited to fully dive into this deck and have a good old play with it, purely because it all started by picking this guy up. So I picked this guy up in the secret. I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. Knowing that it had some new support as well. And I'd had loads and loads of stuff. So if you've seen some of my openings, like I pulled some TG Star Guardians, and pulled some TG Trident Lancers. And at the time I was like, these suck. Like, I don't want to, these are not going to be no use to me. And then luckily I haven't had trading them off, and I was like, damn, let's have a go with this deck. Let's see how it goes. So yeah. Without further ado, let's take you through the profile. So you start off with the TG Warwolf. Now this came as a common in OTS 9, I believe, so it's nice and easy to pick up if you don't get hold of secrets, and the secrets themselves are very, very cheap. And this one is when a level 4 or lower monster is special summoned, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent there this turn, you can add one TG monster from your deck to your hand. It's a little bit slow, but it's just for that additional summon. So the whole idea is, this is one of your extenders on top of it. So what you'll notice with the TG cards is you've got 1 or 2 starters, and then the rest start piggybacking off of the back of them. Some of them are like, I'm going to normal summon, then I'm going to special summon one from the grave, and then this one will then go off, and you're just going to flood the board with more and more TG monsters. And the whole idea is that you link all into the link 3. The link 3 then brings one from the hand, one from the field, one from the grave, and then you start triggering the effects off again, and you make a load of synchros, and then you go from there. Next up is one of the brand new ones, and that is TG Metal Skeleton. We got this in BLHR. So if a monster or monsters on the field is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a TG monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from the field or graveyard instead. Now again, this is more so if your opponent destroys it, you then get to special summon it. And then obviously the TG monster, if it would be destroyed, you get to protect it by banishing this card. So it's a 2 protection. You can actually take this down to 2 in all honesty. Currently the deck is sitting at 42 cards, and there's a couple of cards that I'm looking at cutting out. This is one of them. I would drop it down to 2 purely because it doesn't actually extend anything in the hand. It's just an additional TG monster for you with a bit of protection. And obviously something has to be destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect to be able to special summon this guy down. So it's better off being in the graveyard, but just an additional TG name you can special summon it. Another one of the new cards is TG Drillfish. This one can attack directly, so if you want to poke your opponent for 100 in time, then by all means you can do so. And then you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. So if all monsters you control are TG monsters, minimum 1, special summon this card from your hand. So a nice little free summon. When a TG monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one monster in your opponent's one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. So obviously this attacks directly, does damage to your opponent, and you go and pop 1 card. So it's a shame that it targets, but it is a 1-for-1 target. It is an extender, which is why we max out on 3 of it. We then have triple TG Booster Raptor. Now what you'll notice about these is these are all the non-tuner monsters. So I've done all the non-tuners first, and I'll go through all the tuners. Again, another level 1, so you can use it for 1-for-1. If you control a TG monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So again, an additional free summon. Obviously, you'll notice that the free summons are all lower level 1s, so you want to use them to slowly start to build up on top of that. Only special summon it once per turn this way, and then once per turn during the end phase if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent there this turn, you can add one TG monster from your deck to your hand. Obviously this is a dino as well, so you can search it quite nicely off of Fossil Dig, which is exactly what we do. Then moving on to the other brand new card, and this is the first of the tuners, and that is 2 Gear Zombie. This one is you can take one TG monster you control, special summon this card from your hand. The targeted monster loses 1000 attack. So again, an additional extension. All you have to do is have a TG on board. It is another 1-for-1, so it is a nice little free summon. For the other TG tuners, we do have Tank Grub. Tank Grub is, if this card you control is used as synchro material for a TG monster, you can treat it as a non-tuner. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material for a TG monster, you can special summon one TG token Machine Earth level 1, attack 0 and defense 0 in attack position. Only use the effect once per turn. So the whole idea is you use this as a synchro material and then you get to bring out another level 1 so you can start again to slowly climb up. It is also another 1-for-1, so plenty of more targets for that. We've then got triple TG Striker. This is like your Cyber Dragon of the deck in the sense that if only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent there this turn, you can add one TG monster. So there's a lot of recurrence and searching, but they do have to be destroyed. Then finally, we've got triple TG Screw Serpent. This is probably one of the best main deck monsters. It is a level 4. If it is normal or special summoned, you get to target a level 4 or lower TG monster in your graveyard, except himself, and special summon that monster, but its effects are negated. You can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one TG monster you control, increase or reduce its level by 1 until the end of this turn. Only use each effect once per turn. So, the whole plan is you bring this out of your deck with your TG Trident Launcher. This will then give you an additional extension. So that then allows you to go for the higher synchro plays. The one non-TG monster that we play is Miscellaneousaurus, purely because you can protect your dinos, which is obviously the level 1. Where are you? There you go, your TG Raptor. You can also banish this from the graveyard and special summon the Raptor from your deck as well. It can be a bit cloggy, which is why we only play it at 1, but it does give you a lot of search power because you've got your Fossil Dig into this, ditch this to protect your dino, banish this, or throw it on the floor like I've just done. Sorry, Missy. Banish this, bring out the dino from the deck, and then off you go, extending your plays. Moving on to the spells, a heck of a lot of draw power, search power in this deck. So we've got triple Fire Formation Tenki. Now we play 3 of this purely because it can search out your TG Werewolf. Yay! Additional extension for free. So 3 of this for 3 of those. Not a huge necessity, but you want to be able to. The last thing you want your opponent to be doing, and if they're smart enough when they're playing against you, they'll save their Ash for this. But the last thing you want them to do is to Ash that. So you need to be able to bait out as much as you can. Triple Fossil Dig, obviously Miscellaneousaurus, and of course your Booster Raptor. So again, additional search power. Because you want all your searches and mainly your Trident's effect to go off, you play Triple Call by the Grave. All straightforward on that one. And then a good handful of one-offs. And the one-offs we do have is Foolish Barrel. Send your Miscellaneousaurus. You can also send your Skeleton as well to protect some of your TGs. You can also send a monster to the graveyard to be using for your Serpent if that is your only normal summon that you can get. Reasoning, you play levels 4s, 2s, 1s, and 3s. So you have all the way up to level 4 in your main deck. Reason is not a bad shout. Chances are, if they know it, they'll call a 1. If they don't call a 1, then you should be in safe sailing. But it's just an additional extension for nothing. We've then got the one living fossil. Again, it's kind of like an additional Monster Reborn, which is why we also play Monster Reborn as well. So being able to bring back your synchros, your tuners, or anything like that to extend your plays even further, just goes that little bit better to getting into your big boss monsters and finishing the game off from there. The one Rhoda to search out your striker, and the one because you saw that we have like 9 targets in the deck that can easily be summoned off of that. And then finally, your only defensive card in the deck, apart from your monsters, your synchro monsters, is Sonic Stun. So when an opponent's monster declares an attack, negate the attack, then you can special summon one TG monster or level 4 or lower tuner monster from your hand or deck. So if it was just hand, it wouldn't be too good. The fact it is not hard once per turn is great. It means you can use all 3 of these if you do set these. The other thing that I will say about this deck right now is it's not got any hand traps. It's not got Veilers, it's not got Ogres and Ashes, anything like that. So that's definitely something that I would need to look into to filter it in here. This is all about going TG Turbo. So you really want to be pushing your TGs, get them on the board, build up your synchro boards, your protection, your draws, your interruption, your powerhouses, whatever you want to go with. Build up your board, protect them, push further forward, and then deal with your opponent that way. Now, obviously, hand traps, I do highly advise putting them in the main. I'm just currently working on finding the correct space and what to take out for them. Moving on to the extra deck, we'll start off on the lower end of the spectrum, and we do play, at this moment in time, I don't have it, but this would be the one Dragonfly that I mentioned earlier. For now, I do use a second Formula Synchron, purely because I am waiting to get the Dragonfly to come through, and then of course I will bump those up. For the level 5s, we play 2 TG Hyper Librarian. Obviously, I should go over Formula Synchron for you. So obviously, it's not a TG monster, so you have to be doing this before you go into your Link monster. Not really after, because the Link monster is the only one that locks you into TGs for the rest of the turn. But Formula Synchron is purely there, so when this card is synchro summoned, you draw 1 card, and then once per chain during your opponent's main phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. So it's a quick effect. Now, that's why I put the Dragonfly at 1 when I get to it, because the Dragonfly can be a bit better to give you additional extensions. TG Hyper Librarian is not a hard monster per turn, and it is basically, if a monster is synchro summoned, draw 1 card. So you can imagine that if this is the first monster that you bring out when you use your Trident Launcher, you can go Hyper Librarian in one of the zones, and then you make a synchro in the other one, draw a card. Then if it's an additional TG extender, you bring that down, synchro summon using those monsters, draw 1 card. That's where Dragonfly comes in, because then Dragonfly desynchros basically one other synchro monster that you have, brings the materials back, and then you can synchro up again and draw another card. Now obviously this is a little bit more important when you put your hand traps in, because what you're basically doing is, when you're drawing, you're drawing to get into something that will disrupt or harm your opponent. Right now, you're drawing into extenders and you're drawing into your trap cards. When the hand traps go in there, you'll be drawing into either your extenders, which is why this is more TG hyped, because you want to be going extender, cool, play an extender, synchro summon, draw. Play an extender, synchro summon, draw. Play an extender, synchro summon, draw. So you get the pattern. So that's why we play 2 of these as well. We then play 2 of the TG Star Guardian. This card's actually really quite cool. It is a Warrior Synchro Tuner effect. And then once per chain during your opponent's main phase, you can, quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. And then during your turn is, if this card is special summoned, you target 1 TG monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And then during your main phase, you can special summon 1 TG monster from your hand. So it's more of the fact that it will be sitting there as a 2200 defender. If you really wanted to, you could go for rank 5 plays, but we're not going to. Not in this build anyway. So you sit this in defense mode, and then during your opponent's turn, you use this as synchro material to synchro level up. And when you'll be doing that, you'll be going into your higher level. So you've got stuff like you can go into a Savage Dragon during your opponent's turn. You can go into an Omega during your opponent's turn. You can even try and work your way into the big boss monsters during your opponent's turn. Lastly, for the TG lower level synchros, we do play the 1 TG Wonder Magician. When this card is synchro summoned, you get to pop a spell or trap card on the field. When this card on the field is destroyed, you draw 1 card, and then during your opponent's main phase, you can use this synchro summon, use this card to synchro summon, using this as material. So again, it's another level 5 synchro tuner. This deck will get so much better when if Needle Fiber comes to the TCG. We'll finish off the TG monsters, and then I'll go with the non-TG monsters. So for our boss monsters, we've got the Blade Buster and we have the Halberg Cannon. Now these are insane boss monsters. 3300 attack, 1 tuner and 1 or more, 1 tuner synchro monster, and then 1 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. So it does require your big guys to get into it. But when an opponent's spell or trap card is activated that targets this card, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to negate that effect. Once per turn, you can remove from play 1 TG monster from your graveyard to remove this face-up card on the field from play. During the next standby phase, special on this card if it was removed by this effect. So it just kind of gets it out of the main extra monster zone if you want it to, or it just protects it if your opponent's trying to get rid of it in one way or another. Your Halberg Cannon is your boss monster. 4000 attack, 1 tuner synchro monster, and then 2 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. This card cannot be special summoned except by synchro summon. And then once per turn, while this card is face up on the field, you can negate the summon of a monster and destroy it. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can select 1 TG monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So you want to be building up to this guy quite easily, and you basically have a 4K walking, talking, solemn warning. So very, very good to play around with that one. The last of the synchros, this can be any level 8 you want. I've gone with Omega right now, purely because it can recycle some of my banished cards, and ripping one from my opponent's hand is always good. However, during your opponent's turn, if you want to be abusing your Wonder Magician and abusing your Star Guardian, you do want to be going into Savage Dragon. Now, the reason you would go into Savage Dragon is if by chance you are playing these type of Link monsters. So for the Link 2, we do have a Lambada. You can bump this up if you want to. The reason I've gone with this is purely because it is the strongest Link 2 generic monster that we currently have. You can use Lamphalinkus, but the whole idea is if you don't want to be locking yourself into TG monsters with your Trident, you can go into Lambda and then use these to synchro summon in the 2 zones, build the plays further forward that way, and then you can go into a Savage Dragon during your opponent's turn with instead of the Omega. Now, your Trident is your most important card in the extra deck. It does require 2+ effect monsters, including a TG tuner. If this card is Link summoned, you can special summon 3 TG monsters, 1 from your hand, 1 from your deck, and 1 from your graveyard in defense position to a zone this card points to. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except TG monsters. Only use the effect of Trident monster once per turn. Your opponent cannot target TG synchro monsters this card points to with card effects. So that's kind of where it protects itself from, or it protects the cards it points to from stuff like Imperm and, of course, Veiler. But the chances are, if your opponent's going to drop an Imperm or a Veiler, they're going to be doing it on this bad boy here because he just extends your board by a crazy amount. Our final 2 monsters in the deck, again, are either ors, and these are personal choices. We do play the 1 Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. Now, he's incredibly powerful on his own, but when you then get to use one of your higher level monsters, whether it be the level 8 synchro that you make, or if you decide to use either of these, he can then become untargetable and then becomes a bigger pain in the butt because he's either banishing cards or boosting himself up to crazy amount of attack. It's not a necessity, he can be tagged out for any other Link 3 that you'd want. You could put in your Phoenix, Cerberus, Unicorn if you want to, any of those. It could be another Lambda, another Lamphalinkus. It could even be the Dragonfly if you want to play 2 of those as well. Or of course you can play a Stardust Charge Warrior. The final card is again an either or. Apollo, Bow of the Goddess. You can use this, or of course you can also use a Boral Sword or a Boral Load. Boral Sword is a very, very good option just because you have a lot of ways to extend your board. The only issue is to extend into one of your synchros after making a Boral Sword without using Trident's effect can be a little bit difficult. So, to use and abuse Boral Sword's effect, you need to have the right cards in play. It is completely doable, but it is another option. Ideally, what you kind of want to be doing in the best scenario is you want to be finding a way to get into Lambda without losing your control. Then find a way of getting rid of Lambda and moving into your TG Trident Launcher. Now, what you've got to remember with this is it requires 2 effect monsters, including a TG Tuner. So you would have a Lambda and a TG Tuner. Get this to the graveyard. That way, what you can do is during your opponent's turn, if you play Savage Dragon, is with Trident Launcher in play, you make the Savage Dragon, bring this out, and you've got a Savage Dragon attached with a Lambda. So it's very, very important to kind of move your plays around that one and kind of move it that way. The issue with Trident Launcher is it hard once per turn, but if you're able to special summon 3 monsters willy-nilly from your hand, deck and graveyard, it would be slightly busted. So that is kind of the deck. That's where you've got a few different options to play around with in the extra deck as well, and the main deck. Like I said, I haven't perfected the deck yet. I still want to do a lot of playing around with it, a lot of testing, and just kind of work around with the ratios of this deck. But as of now, I'm actually really, really enjoying the whole play with it at the moment, and kind of coming up with this constructive build to play around with and see how it goes. Anyway, I hope you guys like it. I hope you've given you a structure to build off of. If you do have any comments regarding this that can help me improve the deck, by all means, please do so. I did not play this when it originally came out, so I'm not a original TG fan. I'm more of a modern TG fan. But if you have any little tips or tricks of the deck, then by all means, please let me know. And I'll be looking forward to testing this out a little bit more in depth and hopefully giving you some positive reports from the games as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. We are pushing towards that 15,000 subscriber mark, so please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on anything, and of course, hit that like button. Let's get these videos up to 100 likes and keep it going from there, and then move towards that 15,000 subscriber mark. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling. What's up, YouTube? Dad here from War Games. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always guys, happy dueling.